Okay, folks, they were up in the closet. All right, so it seems like the most talked about element of Tuesday's episode of Beyond the Gates was Tomas and Kat doing it in the closet of the country club. But we will get to that later. But man, I got to say off the rip, I think I speak for the majority when I say what a ripoff that they skipped over Doug's funeral like that. I honestly thought we would get an entire episode focused on it, because if we can get an episode about fashion shows or award ceremonies and what have you, we could at least get an actual funeral service or memorial for Doug where we get to see the characters just showing off their acting chops in terms of, being sad, being jovial, telling stories about Doug. Because if we're being completely honest, as a fan base, what do we know about him aside from his crippling gambling addiction and being a cuckold and being an expert surgeon? I mean, why not have some new characters show up who were patients, where it's like, Dr. McBride, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here today. Those kind of things, I feel like it would have done a lot of good to add more to Doug's character than what we saw. And that's just my opinion. So I'll still give this one a solid 9 out of 10. I thought it was a good episode. And before moving forward, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe, and let's jump in. So Vanessa thanks Danny and Nicole for, their speeches and lightening up the mood. And Danny gives Vanessa some reassurance. Look, I'm sorry. The women look fine as I don't know what. Even in mourning, Vanessa looks amazing in all black. And, like Nicole with the belt, and Danny just... It's Danny. Come on. All right. But Danny says something interesting, that despite how devastating, devastating things are from Vanessa, considering that's your high school sweetheart, and things might have gotten complicated between the two of you in the end, Doug always loved you. And it's like, yeah, Danny, you have no idea how complicated. But that's when Vanessa thinks about how Doug mentioned that she broke his heart. And Nicole mentions how she could have never kept Doug tethered. And I'm thinking to myself, Nicole, if you only knew how untethered your best friend is. Man, so that's when Carlton comes in and mentions how Doug was a fine man. And, Vanessa hugs him and everybody heads out. But I think the most interesting part is when Nicole is talking to Vanessa in regards to, Doug was a fine man. He had some of the greatest hands or whatever. I'm thinking the way Carlton is smirking in the background, he's like, oh yeah, baby, you ain't felt my hands yet. Okay, so Joey pops up after they leave, and he didn't attend the service because he didn't think it would be appropriate. He just showed up to check on her. And she mentions how she can't lean on him in public, but she notices that Donnell wasn't present. So we go over to the dining area of the club, and that's when Leslie tells Eva that Tomas only wants Kat because he must be under the impression that Eva's unavailable because of the fact that perhaps, you're an ice queen just like your mother. Hey, Leslie, that term is only used and reserved for Miss Veronica Harrington from the Haves and the Have-Nots. So don't you dare try to come up in here with that. So she tells Eva to play dirty to get him, and while you're doing that, I'll be offering my condolences to Real Estate Barbie over here. And I'm just like, wow. And I'm just thinking, yet again, she's going to display some dance moves and, moonwalk out of the room. And that's when Eva looks at Tomas's table and announces it's time that we finish what we started. And she mentions how she was hella hurt by, they had sex and it was great. And then next thing you know, yeah, I'm getting back with Kat. Wait, what? And he's like, look, I'm sorry, okay? For real, I am sorry. But that's when he mentions how, look, I'm attracted to you, I care for you, but it's just that with Kat, it's different. And I didn't lie to either one of you. So Rico Suave is over here trying to convince Eva that, listen, I mean, what we did was fun, and it's just that Kat's the one I want, but don't think I'll leave your side of the bed cold. Me and you can do our two-step whenever, but just know that at the end of the day, it's going to be Kat, not you. But what I had is, I don't know. He's trying to convince Eva that, look, what we had was special and important, the way we connect with each other and whatnot. But it's just that she's still looking at it like Tomas took advantage of her. But if I remember, she kissed him first, he kissed her back, and then they had sex. So Eva, you knew what you were doing. And like Kat said, you've been trying to get with her man since day one. So you're not completely innocent in all this. Just saying. But even Eva does admit that even knowing what she knows now, she doesn't regret what they did. And she'll take the good base. It almost seems like she's saying, look, fine, I know you're saying you want Kat and she's the one you love and whatnot, but what we had was special. But even though I can't keep you, if you decide to throw anything my way, a kiss or some couch sex, I'll take it. That's really what it's almost like, hey, you know what? Kat's the one you go to dinner with, but I know you'll still bring a doggy bag for me. That's honestly what it felt like. And that's why I don't feel bad for Eva, because I get it, the whole Jeremy. You got to remember, this is her mom. So her being manipulated by her or not wanting to let her go makes sense, because at the end of the day, even if Ted is the more less toxic parent, Leslie was the one that cared for her since birth. You're not wrong. But given that this is a grown woman taking advice from her mom and is seeing the fruits of her mother's treachery in real time, you would think Eva would know, Mama, I'm not doing that. You did that, and look at you. And look, it's like, well, look at me now, baby girl. You got that inheritance due to DNA. That has nothing to do with you chasing after the wrong man. So I'm not going to be anybody's second choice. I'm not going to be you. So for her to continue this, it's just embarrassing. So that's when Leslie goes over to Vanessa and gives her just an awkward hug, and then mentions, sir, you're handsome. Just kind of flirts with Joey, and he mentions, oh yeah, I don't belong here. I'm just business partners with Vanessa here. So I don't know, maybe a Joey and Leslie's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying there'll be a romance, but I could imagine these two teaming up. That'll be crazy. All right, so after she leaves, Joey says, wow, she's a live one. So they, just kind of spitball ideas about where exactly Donnell is. So that's when she was like, well, I don't know. It's not raining outside, but I didn't notice he had muddy shoes. And we go to the police station. And Donnell's talking to Jacob because he has questions. And he mentions how, my sister didn't come to the ceremony. She's back at school watching the memorial live stream with her sorority, which again is another reason why I wish we could have seen the actual ceremony. But he mentions how, and before people ask, why didn't the sister go? My sister does not go to funerals. She's only been to like a couple. I think our grandparents and our aunt. And that's it. And it was hard for her to go through that. So yeah, there are people who don't attend funerals. I am not going to judge. I know this is like, man, I'm not going that hard on her, Jeremy. It's just that, it would make sense for her to be there. That was her dad. Some people, look, it's even when it comes to parents, there are those who have resentment and they don't go. There are those who's like, they just can't handle it and they don't go. So I'm not going to sit up here and condemn Vanessa and Doug's daughter for not showing up. It's just that for plot convenience, okay, we're not going to introduce her just yet. So there we go. All right. But the reason Donnell had mud on his shoes, it turns out he went to the place where his dad died. And Jacob mentions that you shouldn't have gone there alone. And that's when Donnell is asking questions about, look, can you I need to look at the report. Like, did my dad suffer? And we get Marcel eavesdropping in the background. The way he looked, it was funny. But he's like, rough one. Basically, his way of paying condolences to Donnell before he just kind of slithers off. But Jacob is sure that Donnell is like, look, don't look at this in the wrong way. I just feel like you're dealing with survivor's guilt, but that's not going to change the facts. Your father died on impact, so there was no suffering, and there's nothing that no one could have done to save him. And that's when his mom calls, and that's when Vanessa tells Donnell that she's on her way to the police station. Vanessa tells Joey there are things that, about Doug that she needs to tell her son in order to give him some sense of closure. And not only that, the father he knew growing up was unfortunately not the same man that passed away recently. And at this point, her son is just searching for answers to find the boogeyman responsible and to put the blame on. And she worries that it could be her. Oh no, you think? But then Joey's like, look, this is not your fault. Yeah, you would say that. And then she bolts to the police station. So that's when Joey gets back to the casino and looks at the video footage of Doug in his final moments. And he says that, okay, the detective got to disappear. And folks are like, yo, is he going to off Marcel? Like, what the heck? Because we see the video footage of the blackjack dealer / bartender. And then on the other side, we got Doug and Marcel sitting at the table. Now, from there, Vanessa gets to the police station and she insists on looking at the crash photos with her son, and then they just break down because, man. And you got Marcel, again, lurking in the background. And that's when Jacob explains that they were waiting on footage from the casino before they can close the case. And that's when Joey says that, hey, you know what? I can't give Donnell his father back. But what I can do is that I can answer any questions and I can give you a look at your father in his final moments. So he hands over the footage from the casino and they look at it. And that's when Marcel peers over Joey's shoulder. He's kind of like, I know there's a meme that would be perfect for this, but it turns out that the video footage that plays doesn't have Marcel in it. Cause I think we even see like a little glitch where we see Doug and the bartender, and where it seemed that, wait a minute, Marcel should be there. He was edited out. So essentially he's free and clear. So that's when Vanessa and Donnell break down. And I guess from there, it's like, well, I guess the case is closed, or is it? So we go over to the house and Kat, wait, I think this is Nicole's house, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So Kat and Chelsea feel bad for not attending the memorial because they were busy with work. Man, that's messed up. So they talk about Tomas, and Kat assures Chelsea that she's not mad at her for blurting out that, oh, she loves you. But because it's true, she can't stop loving the man. So Nicole and Danny arrive and they give them updates about the memorial. And hey, we got the live stream recorded so you can check it out for yourself. Also, Kat and Chelsea, it looked good in that black. But Kat mentions that I have to go somewhere, and she just bolts, which we know is to the Dane Country Club. Man, that's messed up. It's like you couldn't go to the memorial because of work, but you can go meet with Tomas. All right. So that's when Chelsea, Danny, and Nicole talk about Kat still wanting Tomas and how cheating seems to be a trend that the Dupree women go through. And it's funny because you got Danny, who's a real one, where she tells Kat, well, if he doesn't straighten up, we'll just burn his house. Dang. So Nicole actually goes to take a phone call in her office, and Carlton tells the others about how awkward it was to be at the memorial with Ted. And that's when they start to interrogate him in terms of his intentions with Nicole. And he mentions like, look, hey, we've known each other since grade school, but Ted unfortunately got to her first. And that's when Carlton can't speak for Nicole, but hey, I do care about her. And truth be told, I've been waiting for her to be available for years. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it's just me. What kind of friend is he to kind of be lurking on the sidelines like a vulture or a buzzard, just waiting to swoop in the moment? Hey, you know what? The moment my boy Ted messes up, I'm just going to swoop in. But I don't know. It does kind of make sense. If you go back to like the anniversary episodes, people were like, yo, do you see the way Carlton is eyeballing Nicole in that dress? Like, I think he wants her. Like, yep. So I don't know. But that's when Nicole actually comes back in and mentions how, y'all ain't going to interrogate him. Look, listen, you're the only one that you need approval from. And I wish she would remember that advice. That's all I'm saying. Nicole, like, you got a way of judging everybody else and their relationship choices. So don't you dare sit up here and be like, hey, don't you question my potential man. Really? So that's when Carlton goes to work and Nicole starts going in on Danny about her marriage to her brother-in-law nephew. And then that's when Danny throws it in her face about being judgmental, which is very true. But that's when Nicole says that, well, come on now. You know what you did was messed up. And I can admit, while the judgmental is hypocritical, it isn't conventional in terms of the marriage because that's my nephew. Come on, man. I mean, come on, girl. But that's when Danny asked Chelsea about the situation and she's like, yeah, I didn't expect it because, Mom, if we're being honest here, your living out loud lifestyle is often deafening. And Danny doesn't want to hurt her daughter. And Chelsea knows that, look, your brand is chaos, And I usually don't mind, but this does hit a bit close to home. So she mentions how, look, I just need companionship and I could have been a bit more discreet, but, hey, what I have of Andre isn't traditional, but it's safe. But then again, it's like, but you would still get with Bill in a heartbeat. So how safe is that, Danny? How safe is that? And that's when, Chelsea admits, like, listen, I don't think you could keep any marriage casual. But that's when Danny's like, well, hey, I made a promise in Vegas and I can make something out of it. So they hug. So it seems like they're cool. And after Danny leaves to get on the phone, Chelsea and Nicole both chat about how they wish Kat would find a better man, which is interesting because yesterday you were just telling Kat to forgive Tomas, which is weird. I don't know. The writing is kind of I don't know what to make of it. So we are getting ready to round things out of the episode. We are at the country club where Kat shows up, even though she said she had other plans. And Eva tells Tomas, like, what we have is real. Come on. But the reason that you can't connect with Kat is because what you claim you have isn't real. And Kat is only there for herself and to keep him away from her, which honestly I agree with. And then that's when Kat shows up and Eva accuses her of gaslighting Tomas into doubting himself and what he wants, and then tries to throw her connection with him in her face, only for Tomas to stand up, walk over and stand beside Kat and go, no, there's no gaslighting between us. What me and Kat have is real and we love each other. No, it's all fake. Look, I'd given up all hope about Kat. And despite all that, I feel like our love gives us hope that we have a chance. And she's who I want. And from there, Eva's like, all right, then. She starts to go, and that's when Kat steps to her. Is like, oh, does it hurt? Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to lie. Kat could have this moment because of the fact that the way Eva was talking all that trash at the apartment last week. I'm here for it. She's like, you know what? You standing next to her makes me feel frigid. So that's when Kat gets Tomas to say again, like, say you love me. And the only thing she cares about is that they both feel the love. So they tell each other that, how much they love each other. They start making out. And that's when they go into the closet. And the funniest part of the episode is this random woman who I want her to show up. Make her like what was it, like in the MCU? You got that one guy who's like, hey, Spider-Man, do a flip. And then he was in Shang-Chi. Or, this woman can have like random Stan Lee cameos where she's just minding her own business. But then she hears the commotion going on in the closet. And after they come out, Kat's like, that was great. And the lady then asked the waitress, give me an order of what they were having. Look, I was born in 91. I vaguely remember the reference, but I know it was that one movie where that woman was groaning and grunting at the table. When Chuck met Sally, I think that was it. So that's when Eva goes back to the hotel to rant to her mom about how bad her advice was. And I don't know why I listened to anything you said. Yeah, Eva, me too. Why did you listen? And it's not like you can keep a man yourself. And then Leslie wishes that Eva, little girl, if you were more like me, if you give up now, Tomas is gone for good. You need to fight clean or dirty. You need to do whatever it takes to get Kitty Cat's claws out of Tomas. I can't do the R thing because my dang tongue is still messed up from when I bit it yesterday. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. And two things. Number one, Cat could have either enjoyed the closet sex because they were standing up. Maybe it's better than being on a couch or on a bed. Number two, well, this is what their third time having sex. Maybe she's gotten better at it. But also, I want to throw in number three here. And this is the one I think is the most likely one. Cat only enjoyed this sex because it was the satisfaction of getting one over on Eva. I think that's the most likely one. Wasn't this little minx licking her lips when she got out of the closet? Like, oh, okay. Okay, sorry about that. All right, but either way, pretty solid episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. I'll have what they are having.